So after the Islamic terrorist attack from the Pakistan side to India, the danger of an India-Pakistan war is echoing all over the world. Various military movements are happening within both countries, and media outlets have been instructed not to report on military activity. But amid all the chaos, we are witnessing massive US support for India. So let's discuss in simple terms, why the US is supporting India, and whether there are any bigger geopolitical intentions. Well, the chances of a small-scale war between India and Pakistan are very imminent. It's not a question of whether the war will happen, but more about when it will happen. Various Pakistani ministers and media outlets are claiming that India will attack Pakistan within 48 hours, but we need to wait and see what will eventually happen. But in the midst of all this, the US administration has directly chosen to favor India at this time. The United States FBI Director, Kash Patel, currently one of the most important figures in the US, has offered full support to the Indian government and condemned the Pahalgam terror attack. He wrote on Twitter that he prayed for all the victims affected by the recent terror attack on India, and will continue to stand united with India against terrorism. Then we have Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, who took it one step further, and in simple words clarified that it was not just a terrorist attack, but an Islamic terrorist attack. This attack is deeply tied to religion, with Hindus being killed for being Hindus by Islamic followers. Here you can also see her tweet condemning the attack, and fully supporting India in any future action. In fact, Tulsi Gabbard has repeatedly stated that Pakistan is a terrorist nation that sponsors terrorism in different nations, whether it's in the UK or India. Even if you observe Donald Trump's views on the Pahalgam terror attack, then he is also clearly taking India's side. Also soon, Donald Trump might even impose a travel ban on Pakistan and other 41 nations with a majority of Islamic followers. So, it's not hard to understand who is supporting whom. The US Vice President, JD Vance, along with his family, was also present in India when the terror attack took place in the Kashmir region of India. He also condemned the terror attack, but things are more intense here. JD Vance, as you know, does not like Islamic ideology and Islam as a religion. He even called Britain a soon-to-be Islamic nation and brutally roasted Germany over its stance. Now the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and various other people in important position, have come out in support of India, and condemned the terrorist attack. Even the US government slammed various news articles for using the term militants or gunmen, instead of terrorists. Here you can see the US House of Foreign Affairs Committee tweet, where they slammed the New York Times for manipulating the news. So clearly, the current US administration is favoring India. And in today's time, the Indian lobby is becoming a booming force in US politics, with many people in important positions either having Indian roots, or following Hinduism. But the US is not doing this because it likes India or because India is an unbeatable ally of the US. The US has its own interests at play. One of the primary reasons is to counter China, and sell military items to India. As you know, a massive tariff war is going on between the US and China, with both countries getting more aggressive with each other. The issue is that China, as the manufacturing hub of the world, has now lost access to the US market, which was by far the most profitable market for the Chinese government and vendors. But if China loses its most profitable market, it obviously doesn't want its rival country to take the contract. And recently, we've heard headlines that the US will manufacture all its iPhones in India. So in simple terms, India's value has been increasing in the US, because after China, India is the only labor-intensive market where goods can be made more cheaply. Security, insurance, and other worker-related requirements that are needed in the US are not necessarily required in a country like India. So, India is becoming a more important partner for the US, and in the future, US-India relations and engagement will continue to grow. And if you ask why the US doesn't start manufacturing in the US itself, well, the US administration has indeed started pushing for more domestic production. But setting up iPhone plants and other tech plants in the US cannot be done overnight. Setting up a manufacturing plant requires the right location, massive infrastructure, a lot of money, and correct planning. It's not like Donald Trump ordered companies to stop manufacturing in China, which means they must only manufacture in the US. Manufacturing in the US will take time, but it's a good decision for now to diversify manufacturing plants to different countries, and not be solely dependent on China. Also, the US is currently embarrassed by Pakistan, as their defense minister openly stated in an interview that Pakistan has been training terrorist groups due to US and Western pressure, which again is not a positive thing for the US. In recent times, the closeness between China and Pakistan has increased significantly, and China is literally sponsoring Pakistan right now. Don't be surprised if China was eventually the mastermind behind the terrorist attack in India. Because Pakistan on its own would not take such a decision, there is a strong possibility that China is funding all of this, and even supplying Pakistan with various missiles and fighter jets. So, if China is supporting Pakistan, the US is naturally supporting India. From the US perspective, this is also a prime opportunity to sell their military items, like MQ-9 Reaper drones, M4A1 rifles, advanced vests, and other high-tech military equipment. There's also a window to make deals for things like F-35 fighter jet. Even if India buys just 10 fighter jets from the US, it would still be a significant deal. So in the bigger picture, India-Pakistan tensions are also a power showcase between the US and China, where the US is supporting India and China is backing Pakistan. So what do you think about this situation? Do you think a large-scale war will happen between India and Pakistan, or will nothing happen? Thank you for watching the video. I hope you all have a wonderful day.